Hello, I'm BHickey. I'm here conducting my final project for CUL-232. Today I interviewed Josiah McGahee of Revolution Brewing. He is a sous chef there. He's been employed at Revolution for 3 years, 2 years as a sous chef. He's been working in the restaurant industry for more than 15 years. I first met Josiah while I was working a stage at Revolution prior to being hired for an internship in early September 2012. He was the first kitchen manager I worked for as a paid employee at Revolution. I chose to interview him because his managerial style is well aligned with my belief on how to effectively manage people. I considered interviewing managers who have styles of leadership that are different with my own interests, but I felt I could more effectively communicate what I feel are sound management practices by interviewing an established professional who could better verbalize ideas that are similar to my own. Josiah has filled leadership and management roles at several restaurants throughout his career. It wasn't until working at Revolution that he took on a dedicated kitchen management role as a sous chef. While he has learned much through his years working in kitchen, he feels that he's learned most about being a manager through his practice in the large, very busy kitchen at Revolution. Then he has picked up piecemeal throughout his career. He began his culinary pursuits in the American South and moved to the Midwest. Josiah has found that differences in management styles are more often associated between individual restaurants and managers than they are between different regions. He explained to me that there are some differences that he would attribute to being regional, such as from the South to the Midwest, but those are predominantly dealing with dialect or local vernacular, the way people talk. He can't really come up with any concrete ideas that are specific to one region that make them different in managerial styles. Differences in managerial styles are far more personal. Through working with several managers, Josiah molded a style of management that is mostly his own. He relies on his own inspiration. But like many people, he has developed impressions of good and bad management based on how he was treated as an employee by a manager. Most of the negative impressions, which he avoids emulating, have been acquired by observing the bad habits of poor managers. Though he's done his fair share of shouting, Josiah doesn't believe that a loud, angry voice is essential to effective management in a kitchen. Effective communication is naturally a key element to a successful kitchen operation. The individual words a manager chooses is generally more important than the volume or the tone of their voice. During high-volume business, orders from the sous chef or kitchen manager are often very short, direct, and usually pertain to the immediate task at hand. When business is slower, however, orders can often include discussion on finer details of cookery practice in a restaurant. For example, a line cook may be encouraged to attempt a slightly different method for preparing a pork chop in the interest of being more effective overall during busier hours. But when a kitchen is slammed, there's very little room for experimentation among the many tasks that a kitchen staff is already juggling. When hiring new employees, there are several traits that Josiah looks for in a candidate before he even considers their cooking abilities. Most importantly, he wants to see a candidate work with a sense of urgency. This is a skill that most of us culinary students learned in Block 1. Secondly, he wants to see that the potential employee can keep themselves organized and work cleanly. Next, he makes sure that the person fits into the community of the kitchen. A new employee needs to add to the team and not be overtly negative or cause fractious relationships or just disrupt the relationships that most kitchen staff already have with each other. One of my favorite aspects of working at Revolution was the time that nearly all kitchen staff spent in the front of the house after a shift. As a sign of appreciation, management gave employees a meal and 2 beers after every shift. Those of us who were relieved early regularly waited around for the remainder of the staff to clock out so that we could all laugh at our mistakes or just thank each other for the help that everyone provided. I always was and still am fond of the camaraderie that exists among the staff, and that camaraderie is encouraged by the restaurant management. The sous chefs were part of this daily ritual, and the fact that the sous chefs hung out with us helped instill the team mentality that helps the Revolution Kitchen run efficiently. Josiah admits that this camaraderie can have an effect on his interaction with staff as a manager. Often it aids in his decision-making process as he readily chooses requests that line cooks do certain tasks for him. And he chooses these line cooks based on the personal interaction he already has with them. He explained to me that he keeps his eyes open for instances of jealousy where new staff members may feel like they're being underappreciated or being passed over for people who've been there, people who've been at the restaurant longer. He believes that his willingness to become familiar with staff can actually be a powerful motivator. In order to be truly effective or motivational, Josiah directly addresses any staff members that may feel underappreciated. He openly explains why he relies on some cooks more than others and provides specific requirements or behaviors that he expects of new staff before he instills his trust in them. There have been veteran cooks at the restaurant that feel they missed opportunities. But Josiah explained to me that to address these situations, an effective manager must not only provide concrete reasons for why someone didn't get promoted, but they must also follow up any evaluation with specific criteria by which they will measure whether or not the employee is suitable for promotion. Josiah also said that when he has the time, he really enjoys helping new employees develop their skills and add worth to the restaurant. He believes that the true benefits of coaching new employees not simply an increased worth to the company or relief from having to do quality assurance checks, but it gives the employee a sense of accomplishment. And that's very important for them to enjoy their work and like coming back and being a positive influence on the rest of the team. Perhaps more important, though, is that molding a new employee into an effective member of the team gives the manager a sense of accomplishment or fulfillment in his work. One of the most prominent lessons that Josiah remembers from his journey to effective management through working in various restaurants was an instance as a young line cook. He backed himself into a corner on an egg station and was just doing sloppy work, making a lot of mistakes, running very far behind, slowing down the entire line of production. But his supervisor, while frustrated, showed a great deal of composure and kept his distance and required that Josiah stay on his station and talked him through the problems he was having. He gave him very concise, quick direction on not so much how to fix things, but what he needed next, which allowed Josiah to focus on what he was doing and not get bogged down in the quagmire of too many orders at once. It was difficult, and he continued to make some mistakes, but as the shift wore on, he slowly improved his skills, and he never quit the station. And now, though sometimes the urge to grab a spatula or step on a line is too much to resist, Josiah uses the memory of that experience of having to work his way out of his own problem and uses similar scenarios not only to train his line cooks, but also to hone his patience. And it also helps him improve his communication skills when the kitchen gets tough. In my discussion with Josiah today, I learned several nuances to his leadership. Most notably was that his management style stems from a belief he spent a lot of time to establish. Ultimately, he believes in respecting the people around him. He says that once you decide on your belief, you can begin to construct an environment that will allow you to build upon that belief. When asked to give advice to aspiring kitchen managers, he says, never underestimate the abilities of the people around you. Respect the people who do the work that you direct. It's no surprise to find that respect at the core of a successful style of management. What is surprising, though, is that such a simple, concise belief is really what is the root of the successful management. I greatly appreciate the time Josiah took with me to answer my questions, and I have a new appreciation for the respect and sound management practices he has built on a solid foundation of respect for others.